My name is Patrick Johnson. I graduated from UCSD in 2007 with a computer science degree. And I joined Google straight out of UCSD, and I've been there ever since. So it's been about 8.5 years at Google since I graduated. And my first team at Google was actually working on the Chrome web browser. And I worked on it before it launched, and I was on the team when it launched in 2008. And that was a great experience. It was really fun working on something before it had gone public, and then to see the reaction of the public when it got announced that Google actually had a browser that they released. And this was a long time ago now, but at the time it was a pretty big deal. And that was a lot of fun, and to see it grow and become one of the world's most popular browsers was great. I spent a little bit of time working on some search infrastructure related to an indexing project after I left the Chrome team. And I spent about a year working on that. I worked on some of our systems infrastructure work. Cluster management is what we called it, and this was a system that helped to manage machines in our data centers and the jobs that ran on those machines. And it was a big, massive scale. We've got thousands of machines and lots of data centers. So that was an interesting project, and we released a paper on that system last year called Borg. It's the name of its Borg. It's sort of got a Star Trek theme, you know. And then after that, the last couple of years, I've been working on people and contacts. So this is a service that Google runs that provides data for Gmail, some of our enterprise applications, a lot of Google apps, and as well as the sync feature that you'll see on your mobile device, Android or iPhone. We're the service that provides the ability to sync your contacts from one phone to another. I tutored for Rick Ord's compiler class. I didn't take it with him. I took it with another professor. And tutoring for the compilers class was an all-time favorite experience for me. And I took the CSE 125. I think it is still CSE 125 now, which is the systems class, but it's really known as the games class. And so we made a 3D game, networked, multiplayer, and in 1 quarter, so 10 weeks, and doing that in a team of about 5 people. Tremendous amount of work, and still one of my favorite, proudest accomplishments from college. So those 2 classes, I would say. Compilers, which is a lot of work, but I learned a lot, and the game class, which is just a lot of fun. My focus was mainly on the networking aspect of the game, and I'd helped somewhat with some of the game engine parts too. So the networking was pretty interesting because I struggled a lot getting it to work. It was really slow and glitchy, and it wasn't until just at the very last week of the class, because I was really stressed that it wasn't going to be working and for the final demo, so I was really putting a lot of hours and time into trying to get it fixed. And it wasn't until about 5 or 6 days before the game was supposed to be done that we actually got it working reasonably well, so that you could actually play the game without it being really laggy and really slow. And I think it had something to do with setting the buffer sizes to the right amount or something like that. It was a long time ago, and I forget some of the details, but I just remember that feeling of being so relieved when it finally works, and just having it like, oh my gosh, it's working, and there's only a few days left. So that was a big thing. Yeah. I don't come from my family wasn't really into computers when I was young, although I found myself getting really into computers at a pretty early age, just playing around with them, figuring out how things work, and just loved computers from when I was young. But it wasn't really until high school that I actually started to play around with programming, and that was because I took a class in Basic. That's going to make me look really old, but it was Basic was our class, and then we said, oh, we could do a little graphic, we could have little animations in this, and we could make little games and have little multiplayer games with 4 of us crowding on one keyboard and hitting different arrow keys and playing against each other, because it wasn't multiplayer, it was just all on one machine. And we'd spend our class periods making small animations and just sort of having fun. We didn't really know much about programming, how computers worked or anything, but we just enjoyed learning little things and getting it to go. One thing that I think is great is for you to find some way to get involved in something beyond just your regular classwork. And it can be a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be one thing. For me, I found that tutoring was a great way to be involved. It doesn't have to be tutoring if that's not your thing. You can do an extra project outside of your normal classes, something open source perhaps, or just anything. For one thing, it looks great on your resume, but it's also a way for you to get a lot more experience in something beyond just what classes teach you. What classes teach you is great, it's a great fundamental building block, but having something else beyond that is a way to get you great experience and really get you engaged in what you're doing. So I would recommend that.